Today on Investigate TV, a gray area between gaming and gambling. So-called skill games are popping up in gas stations and grocery stores across the country.
It's like putting a buffet full of desserts at an Overeaters Anonymous meeting.
Plus, fake reviews are on the rise, and some companies are now offering to pay customers to remove negative reviews.
I mean, at first it just felt strange, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, this is kind of like a bribe.
And tiny batteries, great danger. How an 18-month-old girl's death led to legislative change.
By the time you walk the 5 feet to them, it can be in their mouth already. It happens fast.
Investigate TV starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV. I'm Lee Zurich. You may see them in gas stations, convenience stores, bars, and social halls. Machines that might look a lot like slot machines but play by a whole different set of rules. After spotting so-called skill games in states across the country, our team wanted to know, are they legal? Joce Sterman discovered the answer is incredibly complicated.
Ron Foreman spends a lot of time these days looking back, high up on a tractor seat in rural Missouri. Seeing the leveled path behind him is a lot like seeing his own life in the rear view. Everything cut down and crushed, not by a machine, but through the makings of his own mind.
My mom told me a couple weeks ago, she said, Ronnie, there's something wrong in your brain.
For years, Foreman has struggled with a gambling addiction he says cost him everything. In 2004, he says he voluntarily added himself to his state's problem gambling list, excluding him from visiting any licensed casinos in Missouri.
I was keeping it under control, really pretty fine, really good there.
That was until 2020, when he says he relapsed and began gambling again heavily, eventually cashing out a settlement check from a car accident and blowing every single dollar.
I had a $150,000 cash. In October, and by December, I was broke.
But Foreman's fortunes weren't lost this time among the bright lights and loud bells of a casino. He says he bet it all in gas stations and grocery stores in Missouri on unregulated video machines that look a lot like the slots you see in Vegas. They're called skill games.
But it's an everyday, all day, every chance he possibly can get.
Foreman's girlfriend, Vicki Young, discovered that using GPS data from Ron's phone, documenting every time he visited spots with skill games, from the grocery store nearby that has them tucked between the eggs and milk to the gas station just down the street.
121 times he stopped there in 2021, 289 times at the same gas station in 2022.
Stops made and money spent $1 at a time in machines that are spreading across the nation. Those machines aren't slot machines like this one. The heavily regulated and taxed games based on luck that you'll find in casinos in states with legalized gambling. They're skill games like this one that look and sound similar. But with skill machines, players don't take a chance, they make a choice to win. And in many states, they've ended up in a gray area of what some consider unregulated gambling.
There are no regulatory restrictions on them, and they're literally hiding in plain sight.
Bill Miller is CEO of the American Gaming Association, or AGA, the powerful lobbying group that represents the legal gambling space, one of the most heavily regulated industries in the country. He says legal casinos are now competing with operators who are not under the same scrutiny. An AGA study from last year estimates that in 2021, there were at least 500,000 unregulated gaming machines across the country, taking in more than $100 billion in bets.
I think the greatest danger is the lack of consumer protections. They are plugged into the wall and they operate exactly like a slot machine without any of the protections for someone who might have a problem with gambling or somebody who might not be 21.
Our national investigative team spotted skill games in gas stations, convenience stores, and bars in Kentucky, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Virginia. Although some machines we saw clearly state there are age requirements to play, or that ID is needed to claim any winnings, many machines have none of that, and no one verifying age or barring problem gamblers from betting. A recent class action lawsuit against a skill game manufacturer even included pictures of kids playing the machines and also raised other concerns we've repeatedly heard from opponents about the fairness of their payouts, the impact on addicted gamblers, and the lack of security for players or the people who handle the cash.
If you're going to put in charge of that control an 18-year-old store clerk who's making hot dogs and selling Slurpees, and also is going to be in charge of ensuring that people are of age and don't have gambling problems, I think that's crazy and very terrible policy.
But policy is where this kind of play gets tricky. It comes down to the difference between gambling and gaming, and that depends on who you ask. Many states have outlawed slot machines outside casinos, but the laws are murky, so these machines aren't considered slots. We're back to those two special words again, skill games. Still, our national investigative team obtained video, pictures, and closed case files from law enforcement and gaming commissions across the country, showing skill or slot-style machines they consider illegal, being seized in states including Florida, Idaho, and Michigan. But there's a lot of contradiction. While one Missouri prosecutor seized skill games and crushed them in a public event 2 years ago, saying they're illegal, lawmakers there are still fighting to get a formal law to make it crystal clear. And in Virginia, there's been a total flip-flop. Lawmakers voted to ban the machines in 2021, but a court decision let them stay up and running until the state Supreme Court reinstated the ban in mid-October.
I never buy into this gray area because to me, you're either legal or illegal. It's black and white. We're legal.
Michael Barley is in charge of communications for Georgia-based Pace-O-Matic, one of the biggest skill game makers in the country. He says they've repeatedly proven they're not games of chance, but those two words again, skill games that require some choice and interaction from the players themselves.
And so the skill in this is essentially choosing the square that creates tic-tac-toe.
Correct.
And unlike slots, Barley says skill machine players on their games can see the outcome and know whether the next game is a winner before risking any money.
There's skill in that, just involved in choosing to play before you ever put the money into the game. And then once you get there, sometimes there's multiple combinations. You have to pick the best one.
So when critics like the AGA or other people who have fought against these machines say that this is really just a matter of semantics, that the skill is nothing more than hitting a button, how do you respond to that?
I would say the courts don't agree with their position.
Surprisingly, Barley says many skill game makers and their supporters actually agree on one thing. They want regulation and are open to taxation.
There's not too many companies that walk in and say, hey, we would like you to put restrictions on the number of terminals we have, where they can be located, and we want you to tax us and enforce us.
Even without taxation, proponents of skill games have been vocal that the small businesses and charity organizations that host the machines benefit big.
Because what we do for the veterans of the United States with the revenue we get here compared to what we would be able to do if we didn't have them, it would be minuscule.
Commander Stephen Holmes leads the American Legion post in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. During COVID, he says they were struggling to stay afloat, and skill machines were a lifeline for them and many others.
Everything that we have here has come from the revenue from our skill game.
Holmes is joining a growing chorus of nonprofits and business coalitions who support regulating skill games. Groups like the AGA say those rules should include the kind of requirements casinos have when it comes to payout percentages and testing by state regulators to ensure fairness.
If it wasn't given back, they wouldn't be here.
But addicted gamblers know the cost of giving in when it feels like these machines are everywhere they turn.
It's like putting a buffet full of desserts at an Overeaters Anonymous meeting.
For Vicki Young and her partner, Ron Foreman, that's meant swallowing losses totaling almost $400,000. Money meant for their life together, gone because of an addiction, spent on skill games that were anything but amusing.
It's hard because you have hopes and dreams and you just watch them just be thrown away and for nothing.
The AGA study estimates that states across the nation have lost as much as $8 billion in state tax revenue to skill games that are unregulated.
Coming up, the federal government looks to crack down on fake reviews as some companies offer bribes to skew the system.
You're asking me to, not really lie about your product, but to withhold information that could have been helping somebody else.
That story after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Fake reviews for products and services are a big concern in online shopping. Now the federal government is proposing a new rule to help you make better decisions. Rachel DePompa shows us how companies are skirting the current law and bribing you to write fake testimonials.
Robbie Comia loves traveling in his family's old Honda Odyssey van.
This is an 07.
He usually takes it for trips to see his mom.
Mostly in Virginia Beach. We don't drive it that often. We have 2 other cars that we're usually driving to work.
The van usually just sits in the garage, and the battery died. So Comia went on Amazon and bought a portable battery jump starter.
I popped the hood up, I hooked everything up the way the instructions were. There was a charge on the jump starter, and nothing happened.
He tried it a couple of times and nothing, so he returned it and left a review.
I leave positive and negative reviews on Amazon because we use it for so many things.
He called his review "worthless piece of," writing "absolute trash, returned for refund." The company sent him an email apologizing for his experience and offering several solutions, including a $50 Amazon gift card if he would consider, quote, helping us to delete the review.
I mean, at first it just felt strange, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, this is kind of like a bribe because you're asking me to, not really lie about your product, but to withhold information that could have been helping somebody else.
Robbie is not alone. Over the last year, we've uncovered the problems created by fake online reviews, which are illegal. From small businesses battling fakes to save their reputations.
Because we don't know where they're coming from, we don't know why.
To the people warning about deceptive reviews every day.
This is organized, this does not happen organically.
It looked like someone made it in a garage.
We alerted tech giants to the social media groups dedicated to buying and selling phony reviews. Many of those groups pulled because of our investigation. And now, if you search fake reviews on Facebook, you get this warning message telling you that term is, quote, sometimes associated with fraudulent activity, which isn't allowed on Facebook. But these problems are still popping up in different ways. For example, you might have recently received a card like this with a purchase, offering a gift card if you leave a positive review. Companies rely on those glowing write-ups.
According to a study by internet marketing service Uberall, 90% of consumers use reviews before buying. 66% say fake reviews are a major problem. And take a look at this. A 2019 study by Uberall found even the slightest increase in a star rating can cause a 25% gain in customer engagement for a product. And there's a new way scammers are now trying to pad reviews for companies. People all across the country are getting surprise packages they didn't order from Amazon and other sellers.
The Better Business Bureau calls this a brushing scam, and it means someone's gotten a hold of your address and they're sending the package to create a verified purchase.
It's going to be a free something. You're going to open it, and yes, by law, you can keep that free gift. It's going to be not A quality, it's going to be C, D, or E quality.
But what this is really doing is cheating the online review system. The scammers post a fake positive review to improve a product's rating, which means more sales. The federal government is trying to crack down even more.
Would you say the FTC is really going after fake reviews even more now?
Yes, we think that this rule would allow us to get tougher and to have real teeth behind what we do.
The Federal Trade Commission is asking the public to weigh in on its new rule, cracking down on inauthentic reviews. It would ban writing fake reviews, paying for reviews, concealing honest reviews, and other deceptive practices.
If the rule was implemented, we would be able to seek civil penalties of up to $50,000 per violation of the rule.
Which he says adds up quickly and would deliver hefty fines to those who break it. Dozens of consumers already weighing in. One person writing, I see businesses that aren't even open yet, and somehow, magically, they have tons of 5-star reviews on Google. Super suspect. Another saying it is extremely difficult for the consumer to determine the validity of online reviews. Robbie Comia's Honda Odyssey is on the road again. He ended up buying a different jump starter, and he ultimately ignored the email from the company offering a $50 Amazon gift card. And he never took down the review. Robbie says the experience didn't leave him with a good feeling, and now he's a little more skeptical of online reviews.
It's a way of like padding good reviews for your product, and then they're not real and they're not being sold honestly.
Here's what you can do to see if a review looks real. The BBB has a scam tracker online where you can see if brushing scams are happening in your neighborhood. Also, look up a business to see if it's accredited. When reading reviews, be careful. If every single review of that product is 5 stars, think twice. And look at the 2 through 4 star reviews. Be skeptical of 1 and 5 stars. And remember, experts tell us word of mouth is still the best recommendation.
Amazon says in 2022 it blocked more than 200 million suspected fake reviews. In a statement, the company told our team, quote, "We have zero tolerance for fake reviews and want Amazon customers to shop with confidence, knowing that the reviews they see are authentic and trustworthy." We reached out to the company that asked to remove the review in our story, but did not hear back. Looking for more Investigate TV content online? Scan the QR code on your screen right now or visit InvestigateTV.com. Up next, a warning about an item found in almost every home. We explain how button batteries can cause life-threatening damage if ingested by your children. That's coming up. Welcome back to Investigate TV. In the U.S., a child visits an emergency department for a battery-related injury every 75 minutes, with more than 80% of patients under 5 years old. That's according to a recent Safe Kids Worldwide study that analyzed nearly a decade's worth of data. Experts say the button or coin batteries that power many small electronics in our homes pose a serious risk to children prone to place shiny objects in their mouths. Lynn Kawano in Honolulu spoke with a woman who pushed for legislative change after her 18-month-old daughter tragically died in a button battery incident.
These tiny batteries can power dozens of devices. But to a toddler, its shiny appearance is enticing. When ingested, the batteries become ticking time bombs.
The main worry is actually when it's stuck on your esophagus. That's when it causes the major damage.
To show you just how quickly these tiny batteries can damage the throat of a child, we're putting a brand new battery into one chunk of Spam and then a dead one into another chunk of Spam. And then we start the timer. In 15 minutes, the meat surrounding the old battery starts to turn color. In 30 minutes, the liquid around the new battery starts to bubble. Within an hour, both have caused chemical burns. As you can see, the dead battery caused just as much damage to the Spam as the brand new battery. This highlights the importance when you change out a battery, don't just leave it on the counter and walk away. Doctors at Kapiolani Medical Center for Women and Children see a handful of cases a year of kids who swallow a battery.
It can be life-threatening for kids as well.
So it can actually burn a hole?
Yes, it can burn a hole through your esophagus.
An 18-month-old Texas girl died in 2020, days after surgery to remove a button battery that got lodged in her throat. Reese Hamsmith's mother was behind federal legislation called Reese's Law that now mandates warning labels and more secure packaging.
By the time you walk the 5 feet to them, it can be in their mouth already. I mean, it happens fast. It has to start with knowing where these batteries are.
They're found in items used daily: car key fobs, watches, musical greeting cards, kids' toys, hearing aids, and more.
Damage can start happening within 15 minutes of swallowing the battery. Ideally, we wanted to get it out within the first 2 hours.
If you don't see the child swallow a battery but notice one is missing, check for the signs: vomiting, drooling, refusing to eat or drink, and of course, anything that resembles a child choking. Get to the ER or call 911 right away.
Scan the QR code on your screen now to watch full Investigate TV videos on our YouTube channel. While you're there, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Investigate TV content. Coming up, junk fees, commonly known as the surcharges you pay on credit cards, bills, loans, travel, and event tickets. How the government plans to tackle these surprise fees after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. The Federal Trade Commission recently announced a proposed rule to ban businesses from charging hidden fees. The rule would also require them to display the purpose and full amount of any so-called junk fees. But while reducing these fees should lead to greater transparency, it's unlikely consumers will save money. Rachel DePompa explains in this week's Watching Your Wallet.
We've heard the term junk fees thrown around a lot. We're basically talking about surprise fees. Think concert ticket fees, airline seat selection fees, that hotel resort fee you see on a bill, things like that. The Biden administration and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau tend to define junk fees as annoying add-ons that are not proportional to the value you receive.
I think that's an important distinction. Like in the case of credit card late fees, right now those can go up to $30 for a first offense. The CFPB says that's far too high. It's become a profit center. It's way exceeding what the card company needs to charge in their view. So they're trying to bring it down to $8.
Ted Rossman, a senior industry analyst with Bankrate.com, says while reducing these fees will lead to greater transparency, it's unlikely consumers will save money.
We're actually already seeing that with things like concert tickets and sports tickets. There was recently an event at the White House where the leaders of companies like Live Nation and Ticketmaster and SeatGeek pledged a lot more transparency. So basically offering all-in pricing from the get-go rather than these surprise add-ons at the end.
So you may end up paying the same, but at least you know what you're getting into. Rossman says you should start seeing more transparency with things like concert tickets, sports events, and short-term home rentals soon. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV. Hope to see you next week.